Hi, and welcome back to the Telling All podcast. I'm your host, Juan Rodriguez. This week, I'm joined by my sister, Marielle Rodriguez. Thanks for joining me this week, sis. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The beauty of the way that these things are edited is we can record on Mother's Day, and then it comes out on Tuesday, and then everybody listening gets a happy Mother's Day in case I didn't give it to them before.
Right.
Gotcha. No, it's funny to me. I actually haven't told the family that I started launching this thing. I think I told everyone the first week that I started it, but I didn't drop the episode every week. I just been posting it to like Facebook, but I don't really do much Facebook outside of that.
Mhm.
I know you do a lot of Snapchat because I just downloaded it and I get a lot of your notifications. So it's always nice seeing your memories.
Yeah. I love
Mm,
Snap.
mm. I'm still figuring it out. Uh, I like it because just like last week or a couple weeks ago, you posted one with you and Mama, and she was laughing at something you said. And it was
hmm
really nice to hear her voice again. And I just wanted to say
Yeah.
thank you for that.
No, definitely. I have so many memories on Snap literally since like 2016. Pictures and stuff that's not even saved to my phone. So
Mm,
I love there's just so many memories and
mm.
good time.
That's good stuff. I didn't know that it goes back that far that it actually saves. I thought that Snap just like deleted after a little while. I didn't really know how it worked.
Nope, they definitely unless your like Snap gets deleted or something, but other than that, it's there forever.
Oh, that's good to know. Do you remember my friend Javier from eighth grade?
Was he at your wedding?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I've been snapping with him every day for like 3 months. It's just been pretty great. So I like it because it's you get the little streaks going and you can catch up with people. And yeah, just I had a bunch of people like add me on Snap but like he's the one that I've been consistent with, you know?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I just figured I'd ask that. Mm. Kind of like Snapchat with the not being on your phone or not being around. That's kind of what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be like
Mhm.
little snapshots of conversations I get to have with the people I love about the memories and like the kind of lessons that I learned, especially for us. We grew up together. We come from the same place, same people. And you having
Mhm.
memories of our grandma that I wasn't a part of. I really like that about Snapchat because you can share that and I get to feel like I was there with you. You're my first guest, so this is a little new to me. Don't hold it against me if I'm stumbling through this part.
No problem. This is my first time too, so we're doing this first thing together.
There you go. The way siblings should. I appreciate you taking the time with me.
Of
Uh,
course.
the way that the podcast goes, I've had a little bit of structure, but I kind of just been winging it because I haven't been expecting to go 6 episodes by myself. So I have a whole whiteboard I'll show you next week or this week coming up rather of like topics and things that I have like to do.
Mhm.
But I haven't actually had like a big structure. So the reason I'm really glad it was you that I started out with is I was a big brother before you were born, but I felt
Many
like
times.
I many times, yeah. I feel like I started to get it right or I started to understand how important it was with you. So the way I would do this is like, hey, here's a lesson that I learned, through our relationship. And I ask, would you like to know a lesson that I learned by, being your big brother?
Yes, absolutely.
The lesson I learned, I keep thinking of this story. I actually want to ask mom for the picture so I can put it on the thumbnail when I do publish it. I learned how important it was just to show up. That makes sense. Just being there. Because I always thought being a big brother, I had to be like the other dad or the bad guy, making sure that, we did things the way we were supposed to. But you had a photo day back in Marin, and I remember they came into my, oh, you remember this? Yeah?
With the
Okay.
Easter bunny,
With the
right?
Easter Bunny. Yeah, exactly. You were freaked out by the Easter Bunny.
I was
So
so scared and they come take a picture with me.
hmm and they got me out of my class and they said, "Oh, you asked for me." I'm like, "She asked for me." Marielle asked for me, like being Sabrina never asked for me. Caitlin never asked for me. Like Marielle wants me to take a picture with her, and I'm sitting there like kind of honored, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? If she's upset, she's upset. What do you want me to do? I love that picture because you're just cheesing from ear to ear. You're just happy, and I'm just there like, you know.
Right. And I wasn't happy like that before you came. Let me tell you. I remember that day. I'll never forget. That was so funny.
Mm, it was funny. Well, it was a big meltdown, so I think that's a good segue. Like, what do you remember from your point of view?
I remember honestly, I don't remember asking for you, but I remember like crying and being very emotional. And then I remember seeing you and then I was like relieved. Then I was so I don't know if I thought the Easter Bunny was gonna attack me or something, but I felt so was like secure
Mm.
and that was probably why I was cheesing ear to ear because that Easter Bunny had me scared. I think I must have been first grade maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
First grade, missing a bunch of teeth. Yeah.
yes, that is so funny because that and it's funny every time I see the picture I think about it. I remember having like crying, like bawling my eyes out because I did not want to take a picture.
It's funny how memories work like that because you remember the feeling, the emotion of it all, but you don't remember like the details too much, but you still that's pretty much how I remember it too. You were having a meltdown and it's like I came into the because it was on the stage. It was like the auditorium of the school. That's where they were having. I remember I came in and you went from a meltdown to a hug, and then you kind of started to calm down. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, I can't be mean. I can't tell her she's being a baby. She's literally in first grade. She's not much older than a baby. What am I supposed to do? It's okay. Easter Bunny's not going to hurt you. And I'm looking at him. He looks creepy. It's like that costume just, there was something off about it. And I remember at saying, trying to get you to sit in the seat so you could take the picture. And then you're like, can you take it with me? And I just look at the adult, the teacher, the photographer. I'm like, is that a thing? Can I do that? And I'm thinking like mom's gonna be upset that we took the picture or something, like that it was a waste. Like I didn't know what I was thinking. I'm just like, okay, let's take the picture. But you're right, like you did calm down, and I'm like, that was the first time I realized like I could do that. Like
Mhm.
obviously I'd had that experience before, but that's like I was almost a teenager. Like I was almost 13 at that point, and I'm like, oh, I'm old enough to actually realize and see things for what they are. And I just remember taking that picture and thinking, I hope I smiled because mom always complained that I never smiled in my pictures. I always did the, you know.
Do you know if mom ever complained about that? Because that's like kind of a two for one deal. Like she only
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
pay for one picture that year.
I know I think she was actually happy about it because it came out good, and B, I was actually smiling. She's like, "Oh, maybe we should get you to take your pictures with all your sisters so you can effing smile for once," you know?
That is so funny.
Hmm. I still remember that outfit because I used to like layer shirts, like the white shirt on top of like a navy blue shirt or a black shirt, because I had the Air Force Twos. I'll probably put a picture up of them if I can find it, and they were like black, blue, and white, and they were fire. So I would layer my shirts, and I don't know if I told you this story, but in seventh grade, that's when I first like hit my growth spurt. Like I never been hard, but I started to get tough, and I there was this one kid who we were kind of cool, and one day I don't know what it was. There was like a new cute girl or something. I won't say his name because he's actually passed away now. But the funny story with that is, he was being tough, like didn't want to slap box. He wanted to actually like fight. So what I did was I took off my white shirt. And he's like, why did you take off one shirt? Why don't you take off both? I'm like, I don't want to get any blood on my white tee. And it was it wasn't that hard, but he took a step back and looked at me, and I'm sitting there like I meant my blood, not yours.
Oh my God. I can really hear you saying that too. I don't want to get blood on my white tee.
But I posted up like I guess I sold it because he was like, "You got it, like we're good, like you're cool, you're cool." But
That is
after that,
hilarious.
yeah. I don't tell that story often because he actually passed a few years ago, but he was a good guy. Like after that, like we were already cool, but after that, like he ain't mess with me and nobody else, he ain't let anybody else mess with me kind of deal. Like he's like,
He wanted to be on your side after that.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. He had his own side. He was cool, but it's just we weren't on opposite sides at that point, which was kind of nice. But I put my shirt back on, and it's just every time I see that picture, I think of that story. And I haven't told anybody that story really. Oh, I think I
That's
told
too
Trav
funny.
not too long ago. And he laughed too. He's like, I keep forgetting you had a whole life before I met you. Like, you know what I mean?
That's so funny.
I had another funny story, but I got to clear it with you. Going back to you saying how, you know, me being there can help you feel secure. There was one night when we were in between the shelter and we were in our own apartment, but it was like the low income, like by Marin. And there
Yep.
was one night I was breaking night on the computer playing games or whatever it was, because I had trouble sleeping back then. And you were asleep on the couch behind me, just like, Bulbasaur is over there. And
Hmm.
I'll never forget because it's something like in one of my favorite movies, Good Will Hunting. They tell a story about this, but in the movie, Robin Williams is telling a story about his wife, and that wasn't part of the script. He literally told that joke and made everybody laugh. I'll probably cut that part out. But you were asleep on the couch behind me, and I'll never forget, you farted so loud, like a cheek slapper, like a that you woke yourself up and you were scared and you were crying like "Eh." I had to leave the game and rub your back and tell you it was okay. You just had a bad dream.
Oh my God, I have tears coming out my eyes. That is hilarious. The thing is, I do not remember that at all, but I remember you told me this story before. That is the funniest shit ever. Oh my goodness. I
Oh,
don't remember. That's the one thing I don't remember.
I mean, you weren't that old, so I don't blame you. I was like 15. I'm just sitting there. I'm in the middle of a game, It's like a competitive game. And I'm sitting there tapping, clicking, 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 like fighting for my life, right? And you just have this moment. And I'm like, I don't even care if I die right now. I have to go make sure you're okay. Because I didn't want mom to wake up and see that I was still up and all that other stuff. But it was just funny to me because the movie I saw when I was like 12, he tells the story of his wife doing the same thing and how she asks, "Was that you, honey?" Because the fart woke the dog up. And he's like, I didn't have the heart to tell her. I said, yeah, it was me, honey. Just go back to sleep. Mm. I can take that story out if you want, or I can leave it in.
No, you can leave that. That was hilarious.
Okay, good. I'll leave that in. Oh. No, funny stories aside, being secure. I wanted to build off of that. I haven't felt like I could be a parent, but watching you, first with Nani and now with Mumi, I see how much you've grown. And it does make me secure and it makes me feel like it's something that I might actually be good at. And it's just seeing how you handle yours and how you get it done and seeing just how much you've changed. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like for the better or what have you, but
Hmm.
just seeing how motherhood has changed you. Like, what are some of the lessons that you have learned about yourself in being a mom?
Ooh. The
Mm,
first lesson that you have to learn with being a parent is definitely number one is patience. And right after that, I would say, that it's no longer about you. You
mm,
have, and I think for a long time, even like in my adolescent years, I kind of just did what I wanted, didn't really listen to anyone, and didn't care for the consequences that I would have to, you know, deal with my decisions. So I feel like every move I make now, it's like I think about how would it affect my children. So you have to be very, like willing and giving
mm,
to willing for like physically giving, you have to feed them, take care of them, but also like, you know, mentally, you just have to be willing to just do it for your children.
So what I'm hearing from you is you've learned that you get to put yourself on the back burner and you get to actually think your actions through and realize that not only do your actions have consequences, but they can benefit your children if you plan accordingly. And you have to be patient and you actually have to think about how your actions affect them. Is that
Right.
is that about right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And the reason I jumped right into the motherhood question is because you said that I made you feel secure, back in the first grade, which I love. But I see how not only Mumi, who she just clings right on to you, but Nani, like she's very secure with you. She's always looking to you, asking for what you think, and she's always very happy when she gets your attention, your affection, and your approval. And I see it because kids wear their emotions right on their sleeves, and I just want to acknowledge you for that because I know it's not always easy when you got your own stuff going on, but to just see you snap right to it and just, put the phone down, put the food down, do what you got to do, and you're locked in, and she has your attention, and I just see her like light up, and she wants to just tell you everything. That's just it always makes me
Yeah,
smile.
definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm, it's good stuff. I appreciate you. I'm rocking at my chair. Don't mind me. I just do that. There's that. I feel like I turned 25 and I woke up one day and I realized, oh my gosh, my actions have consequences. I'm here because of every choice I've made up until this point. My mom and my dad were just people too, and they were just figuring it out. Like I feel like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden I just had like this understanding, like my brain was just done developing. Like did you come to the point where you realized like that you had consequences to your actions after you had your kids or after you had your first one, or was it something that just happened naturally?
Honestly, I would say after my first child.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was still young. I was a teen 16 when I had my first child, and like I said, I was just doing whatever I wanted. And then I feel like, once I held her in my hand, I'm like, this is real life. Like I can't be messing up. I can't, you know. So I would definitely say after my first child, because even honestly, during my pregnancy, I wasn't even, I was not the best relationship. I wasn't, in the best mental state. So I think honestly, like literally when I held her in my hand, it was just like you said, like the light just went on, and then I just knew it's not about me anymore, and everything I do, like, it's gonna affect my child. And I also understood, like, I understood my mom more also, like becoming a mom.
So it wasn't all at once and it was a process, but it sounds like becoming a mother, not just getting pregnant, but actually giving birth and holding that life. Like you said, all of a sudden it became real life. And it's
Yes.
funny that you say you understood your mom once you became a mom, because I feel, or it seems to me like a lot of people that I know, I'm a little older, they don't always get that lesson, of understanding their parents a little better once they become parents.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of wild to me because I would think that it would happen as soon as the kids hit certain ages, but you'd be surprised how many people hold on to things from their childhood and they don't actually let it go until their kids hit that same age. And they
Yeah.
realize, yeah,
I said, yeah, definitely.
mm, get that. How are some of the ways that it has gotten easier with your second child?
Oh, where do I start? Okay, so, and it's so funny because someone recently just asked me this, like a very similar question. But, like I said earlier, I was very young when I had my first child. And I also, honestly, I was living with my mom, I was living with mom and Bina, and I had a lot of help. Almost like sometimes I couldn't even do things on my own.
Mm,
So yeah, it was with Anaya, it was like very much a learning experience. Like even like still to this day, it's just learning new things. And I was, with Nevaeh, it was just I kind of like I knew, and I knew, I knew what a different cry. I knew, different foods, and when to start certain foods, and a pamper cry and a hungry cry. So yeah, and I've learned just it was like almost like I look at it as like almost like a second chance for me. Sometimes I feel like being young, I didn't make the smartest decisions. Obviously like nothing to like harm my child or put my child in danger, but just, like little things that like, okay, well, I know this is not gonna work. So because I tried it with Anaya, so let me try something else with Nevaeh. That just goes for anything, medicine, lullabies, just things like that.
So it sounds to me like the first child is not quite a trial run, but there's a learning curve. You're learning as you go. And
Absolutely.
okay. And with the second one, you're learning from your first experience and you're also using that kind of knowledge of this worked for her, but it might not work for Nevaeh. And while Nani might not have liked this, Mumi loves this, and you kind of just adjust and you actually have an idea. And I
Right.
hear,
Yeah.
okay. And with Nani, you had a lot more help. So, like you said, you didn't actually get to do a lot. A couple weeks ago, when we were at Mom's house, an idea that was we were having a conversation, or we were all eating, and it was a good time. But the example that comes to my head is Sabrina just grabbing Mumi and just giving her a bath, and it's like, oh, I was gonna give her a bath, and then Nani gets the bath, and it's like we're done eating, and everyone's bathed because everybody's kind of helping out, and that's just kind of fun
Mm.
to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
I know for me, it's really difficult for me to ask for help. It's something that I've been working on for the last year. Yeah, actually, oh my gosh, it's been about a year now that I've been working on asking for help and support, and it's still not easy, but it's getting easier. Is asking for support something that's difficult for you?
Yes, it is. It's a work in progress. And I feel like over the years, because this is something I've struggled with, for many years, asking for help. But over the years, people that I wouldn't expect, and people that I did expect, people do help. And I just learned that it's okay sometimes, to need help, or even just to need some advice, or just someone to talk to. Because honestly, me personally, that's something really big for me, like even just speaking about how I feel, and someone just listening, I feel like that is a very big help to me. So I'm just learning to seek help from the right people, because many years ago, I looked for the wrong people to help me, and they didn't help me the way I needed them to. So that was very discouraging, and that made me not want to ask for help. So I just think about knowing who can really help me for whatever, whether it's talking, anything. So yeah, I would say I've struggled with it, but it's a work in progress, and I've definitely gotten better at it. There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
I'm gonna leave that in the. So it sounds like we've had very similar journeys. Doesn't surprise me, we're siblings. The idea that there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I'm very proud of you, and I acknowledge you for coming to that on your own, because it took people beating me over the head with that message before I got it. But it sounds like, much like myself, you've had people trying to offer help, but not necessarily being the kind of help that you need. So it seems like the quality of the help is what's important to you. And sometimes you just need somebody to hear you, or hear you out, or just listen, however you want to phrase that. Or sometimes you actually need a little support, but it's important to be able to know for yourself, and that's a big deal, what you need in that moment. And knowing that if somebody can't give it to you, that doesn't mean anything bad about them. It just means they're not the one to help you in the moment.
Right, correct. Because that same person might be able to help you with something totally different.
I think we all know the folks that can solve a problem like nobody's business, but they can't sit and just let you talk. They gotta wait. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And it's like, yeah, I
Right.
have. I haven't, but that's not what I'm here for. Hmm. Yeah, like I think I've gotten a little bit better at asking for help lately. What do you think? How does it look from your perspective?
For you,
Yeah.
I definitely see you, definitely getting better with asking for help. We definitely see it.
asking for help was a big deal for me, even with my own wife. And that's a big change. And I know that that's not something that people can see on the outside, but
Mm.
asking for help is a really big deal. That's definitely something that I'm proud of you for realizing that you're needing to do better with. And it's something that I need to do better with and I get to do better with. And I'm glad that you've noticed that I've been trying a little harder to ask for support, especially from you and the rest of the family. And it means a lot to me that you guys always show up, really. And I've been wondering, are there any other changes you've noticed over however long? I mean, maybe since I've been married, or you've known me your whole life, so you're the person to ask.
So yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing I've seen change in you, and I want to say this is maybe like within the last year, you've definitely made it your duty to be around family more, come to more family functions. And not that, not that you weren't doing that, but it was just, limited. A lot of the times you probably like show up to, event once every month or so, or every 2 months. So I definitely seen you coming around more and checking in. At least for me anyways, always checking in. And that's not something you've always done that I didn't hold you, accountable for. I wasn't, angry or anything about that, but it feels good to, have you around way more and know that I can come talk to you or, reach out whenever. Cause, I just always was like, he has his own life, he's busy. And I think you were kind of in that mode too. Like I have a life, I'm busy. And so I appreciate that, you're coming around more and, we're doing like we had that big sleepover. That was so much fun. And so yeah, that's definitely one of the things I've noticed and I really appreciate.
Hmm. First off, that
No,
sleepover was super, super fun.
like, yeah.
We got to do it again for sure. It sounds like you're noticing that I'm making an effort to be present more. I'm actually trying to be around and I'm not letting the busyness of my life get in the way because I figured out in the last year that I'm always going to be busy. And if I keep buying into, I don't want to call it an excuse, like you said, it's a fact. If I keep buying into the I'm busy, I have a life, I have things I have to do. I mean, like today, I had to fix my mower again, and you were nice enough to, postpone the recording a little later. So thank you for that. But just life is always going to pop up. And if I keep letting it get in the way, then I'm going to miss everything. And I think the biggest part of that for me was Mumi being born and realizing Nani's already getting this old, Kimura's already this old, and Elena's growing up faster than we know. And I don't want to miss the chance to be there. And I don't want to wake up one day and everybody's moving out of state and wishing like I had more time. So I'm glad that you're noticing me trying to be present and be around because I care about you guys and I do want to support you and just want to say thank you because I didn't realize that it was that obvious.
Thank you. We love having you all the time, not just
Mm.
sometimes.
Thank you.
I wanted to just run back really quick when we were speaking about like being secure. And I
Mhm.
remember the memory, if you don't mind me sharing, of
Uh,
us. It was me, you, and mom actually. And I remember going to Dr. Dalal and we had to get some shots. Do you
mm.
remember having to hold me down to the bed?
I mean, it sounds like something I would do.
So it was so funny because, when he's just prepping his stuff, I'm already
Yep.
losing it. I'm losing it. And I remember mom's like, lay down, lay down. He's not even doing nothing yet, lay down. And then you come up to me, and you're like to my face. And mom's like at my feet and the doctor's whatever, doing whatever he's doing. And you're like, it's okay, it's gonna be quick. I just did it. Yada yada yada. So I calmed down a little bit, and then the doctor tells you have to move to hold my feet, and he's gonna come up because I was getting them in my arms,
Mhm.
and I lost it, and I was kicking and screaming, and I don't know if I don't know if you were distracted or whatever, and some way somehow you like let go of one of my legs, and I kicked you, and I kicked you. And I remember being mom was like, "Why would you do that? You just kicked your brother." And I'm like, he was supposed to stay up here. Why is he down there?" So upset. But yeah, I think that was like, that was another moment where I felt, my brother's here. It's gonna be okay. Or my brother just did it. It's gonna be okay. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but like I remember just feeling like, oh, Junie's here. Like,
Mm.
by the way, I apologize about that.
I've been kicked plenty of times. Don't even worry about it. You said it though. I should have been up here keeping you company up here. What was I doing at your feet? Like that's the op zone, you know? Oh, I
That's
remember that. I don't remember getting hit, but I do remember that because I'm sitting there like it's okay. I'm trying to do that. Like, hey, this is what a big brother's supposed to do. And it's like, well, go down there. It's like, you mean the place where she's actively kicking and the place where I can get hurt? Like, sure.
I,
That sounds like
I think
fun.
I think it was like mom, she was holding both of my hands at my stomach or like at my waist, and you were holding my legs, and that I was like trying to get the needle in me. Oh my God, that was funny.
Because it just sounds like, oh, just tie her down, hold her down. It's like, no, no, she's a child. She's flailing. Like just keep her from hurting somebody. And
I
mom
don't
is fine.
I wasn't a
Really?
smart child, so
Mm-mm. Them kicks were deadly. That's probably why I don't remember it. I probably just started seeing stars. Like, I'm fine. Wow, that's good. So that's a fun memory. And that's another reminder of feeling secure. And then an adult messing it up. Like, why don't you go over there where she's less secure?
right.
We got a nice little story. Thank you for doubling back with that. I enjoyed reliving that memory. It's funny how that works. You forget until you remember, and then you're right back in it.
Right.
Uh,
Just like I how funny that bunny story was until
mhm.
you said it again.
Yeah. Remind me, I have to message mom and see if she can send me that picture. Otherwise, I'm sure it's on like Facebook or something.
Yeah, I thought you had it on your Facebook.
I might. I don't really go on Facebook like that. I've only started going back on this year. You know, I think
Yeah.
what happened was I got like 100 birthday wishes one year, and I'm like, I'm not answering all that, and I just didn't go back to Facebook.
Yeah, you really weren't on Facebook for a while, like years. You've been posting years.
It was like almost 6 years. 6 or 7 years. I was just going off Facebook, and I felt so good. No Instagram, no nothing, no memes, no reels. It was just quiet.
So how do you like being back on social media now? You're on Snap, you're on Facebook.
It's popping. I'm kidding. No, I enjoy it because like I just it's always something funny. So I have like all these places where I'm trying not to abuse it. So if I need a little pick me up, I just open up like whatever, and it's like I got all these memes and stuff, and it's fun and it's nice just being in contact with people that I didn't realize I made an impact on. So people I used to work with back when I was in the mall, I've been in contact with those types of folks and just really reconnecting. And it's to the point where it's like I have so many people that want to go out for a beer. I'm like, I wish I drank, just spend a whole weekend, like just
Drink it.
beer date. Well, yeah, just drinking and eating, just like Ubering, like not driving anywhere. Just like, here's where I'm gonna be. Everybody come check me.
Right.
We had a funny story. So I guess the end section would be like, are there any lessons that I may have taught you that maybe I don't remember that you'd like to share?
Yes. So I think you taught me the importance of being an older sibling. And I remember when I first became, because I'm the youngest from mom's side, but my dad had a daughter after me. And I remember one incident where you really were like the big brother that saved the day. And I remember being like this is a good feeling. My brother prevented a situation as best as he could. And I remember feeling like I want to be that for Sadie. Sadie's my little sister. I remember feeling like literally right in that moment when you did that, I remember feeling like this is sibling love, especially growing up me and the girls weren't always the closest. We were like cats and dogs. So I think something you taught me was the importance of being an older sibling. And I thank you for that.
You're welcome. So it sounds like me being the older sibling and saving the day, as you said, in that one time, you saw in that moment what it meant to be the older sibling, the protector, and just what that love could be like and what it could mean. And it let you know that that was something you wanted to do for your little sister Sadie
Right.
when you got the
That.
chance.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could do that for you. So I told you a lesson you taught me. I told you a little story attached to another lesson, and you told the story, and then you told me a lesson. So we kind of did it in reverse. I think that was a success.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I wanted to say thank you for joining me on my first guest episode. I promised you were going to be the first guest, and boom, here you are.
Thank you for having me.
I was happy to have you, and thanks for joining me. Maybe we'll have you on in a year for the anniversary. And I'm just going to end this with a question for all the viewers. What are some lessons your siblings have taught you? And if you're an only child, what are some lessons your parent have taught you? Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.